Hey, I think we're live. This is the At Nerdvana podcast. Welcome to this season or this episode of this season. I guess this is the second one we've done since we started the new year. So thanks for tuning in. At Nerdvana Live is a weekly video call-in show. It's streamed via YouTube and Twitch, and you can download it after the fact in all places where we're managing to distribute this. I think you can search for it on iTunes if you listen to podcasts there. My name is Randy Pitchford. I am your host. With me is Randy Varnell.
Hey, everybody.
So co-hosting this week. Randy Varnell is he's an awesome developer at Gearbox Software. He's been a creative director. He's been a producer, a design producer, and we'll talk more about the kinds of things that Randy and I do together at Gearbox after I finish my intro. But we have two Randys on the show, so if you do now, this is a live call-in show. So if you do call in and say my question is for Randy, we're not going to know which one you're talking about. So we'll, either both answer or we'll figure that out.
I'm very happy to answer to either Varnell, my last name, or a lot of you. And I've seen some Battleborn fan members around. You know me as Jithri in the community. So I'll answer to either of those.
There we go. We'll figure it out. Figure it out. But we are here live. We are at Nerdvana. We are actually in the podcast booth above the coffee shop and the restaurant. The coffee shop at Nerdvana Coffee Plus Shop is a board game themed, super fun and nerdy coffee shop where you can get locally roasted single source coffee. That's great. I don't drink coffee, so of course I'm here. Also adjacent and where we're above is the At Nerdvana Food and Spirits, which has this incredible bar and video games everywhere. And I don't drink alcohol, so of course that's why we're here.
I've tried both of those things in both of the places, and they're fantastic.
Awesome. I'll tell you what, the food is really good though. And they just started serving soup in the coffee shop. And last week at the restaurant, see, after the show, by the way, and if you happen to be in North Dallas and you want to come say hi after the show, we're going to have dinner at the At Nerdvana Food Plus Spirits restaurant, and so we'll just be hanging out. If you do want to come by, and you can just walk up to our table and say hi and introduce yourself, and we don't bite much, and it's fine. But we're going to be there. We're going to eat something. I try to order something different every time. I think I've got my eye. I think I'm going to go for the chicken fried steak.
I've not had that yet.
It's insane. It's apparently filet mignon, and they chicken fry the filet mignon.
Oh my god!
Because they're ridiculous.
See, I usually get stuck on the appetizers because the appetizers are fantastic.
Aren't they great?
The Hadouken steak is
one of my favorite things. Yeah. Hadouken beef.
It'll hurt my stomach if I eat too much of it because that sauce is real. But
the Hadouken sauce is my favorite thing is the layout, the presentation of the Hadouken. It's because the move for Hadouken, it's down, angle, right punch. So the meat is laid out on the table on the plate, like down to the angle to the right, and then to the right, and then the punch is the Hadouken sauce, which is absolutely delicious. And something Christy's been doing lately is she's kind of made her own kind of secret menu. And so what she does is she hasn't named it yet, but she gets the Hadouken beef on the brioche. And she's got this new sauce which she calls Sonic Boom, and she mixes their custom Hadouken sauce with ranch dressing, and it's absolutely crazy. And he put a couple pickles on there, and it's like, so we're gonna have to name that.
So if we go by later tonight, I can order that off the secret menu.
Yes. The other thing I like is the beef stroganoff, and there's a secret menu version of that called Kathy's Way or Kathy Style. And Kathy is the general manager down there, and it's just super spicy, and it's just loaded up with red peppers and other things. So it's pretty. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that, but I'm salivating. I've not eaten anything all day, and I'm really looking forward to dinner after the show. But I'm not going to rush the show. We're good, but we are broadcasting live from Nerdvana, and this is a live call-in show. And there should be the information on the screen of how you can call in. You can call in via phone, or you can use Discord. There's a Discord server up, and if you have a microphone and speakers plugged into your PC or your laptop, you can You can use that to talk to us. But I hope you call in and talk. And if you're nervous about calling in, don't worry about it. If you are a nerd and you want to talk to us, we'll get you on the line and I'll ask the questions. You don't have to feel like you have to be put on the spot. Part of why I do this is because I actually do want to hear from people and I want to engage. And I got plenty of things I'd love to pull from the brains of people that watch the show and that are nerds like us and like maybe might like some of the video games that we make. But we're going to do the show. It's going to be about 90 minutes. When we're done, we'll be down at the Nerdvana thing. You can come by and feel free to hang out. By the way, some people know I asked the question before we're going to start, should I have hot chocolate or sparkling water? I went with sparkling water, but I went with Perrier, and I usually go with Topo Chico, which is, I guess, Mexican sparkling water. So I did mix it up a little bit. But anyway, that's the answer to that. But yeah, okay, that's enough BS. Let's. I think we should get to actual content. What do you think? Should we get started?
Let's go.
So, Randy Varnell and I work together at Gearbox Software, and on the project that we're working on right now, we've actually been able to work together a little more than we have on other projects because you currently have the role of what is the official title? It's one of the producers.
I'm still senior producer, right?
Well, you're senior producer,
but
your focus is
on narrative
and missions, right? Which is awesome because this is the spine of the game. This is what connects everything together. And I have been neck deep on the narrative team, and because of my seat, I try to be a teammate when I'm on these teams, but I can't. There's no avoiding the fact that I'm me. So I tend to be like the authority figure in the situation. But it's been a lot of fun, and we are doing cool stuff.
Yeah, no, I love it. We've had I think we work together well. We've had the privilege to work together several years. You always have the first project and all that. I remember when I first got to Gearbox back in 2009, and we were interacting way back then on a project that I don't ever think saw the light of day. But it was like,
still fun.
Who's this Randy Pitchford guy? Why does he keep giving me notes? But it's been these last few months have been really, really, really cool. We get to meet together a couple of times a week. You and I and some other really key people, some writers, working really close to that, some other directors in the narrative group, and people who care a lot about story and presentation and quest and missions and making it all really fun.
Yeah.
So,
and it's really interesting right now because we made the decision not too long ago that we should expand the writing team at Gearbox. Now we have a really good team. Like I'm really happy with everybody. I feel so privileged that I get to work with you and the other guys every day because there's so much talent in the room. But we noticed that there's probably going to be a point, not probably, there's certainly going to be a point that we're anticipating where we're going to be needing to kind of get a deeper bench, so that we can produce more from a narrative point of view. And this, in anticipation of that, we think we can be strongest if we get people on board sooner, so they can be part of the team before we're ready for those next steps where we're kind of attacking multiple fronts. And so we've been recruiting writers, and you've been awesome at this because one of the things that's tricky is sometimes, well, almost every time, we kind of know. If we don't know the actual people that want to join the Gearbox team, join the writing team, we know like the projects they've been involved with, if they're veterans, and there's just that information can kind of taint the process.
Right.
So what we do is, why don't you talk about what a candidate goes through? Like
sure.
what happens when people want to become a writer for Gearbox Software? What's like their first angle and what steps do they go through? Yeah,
well, I mean, we always, you tweeted out right before Christmas and let everybody know that we had a position open. So, you want to start at the very beginning, letting people know that there is something that we're looking for, we're growing. But really, the first thing we look for is writers send in resumes, in the basic, like, here are the narrative projects I worked on. We really, we kind of have writers of all sorts of different experience levels. We have some junior guys and we have some senior guys, and we have a really good mix of people right now, and that's really healthy for the team to get your old blood and the new blood. But recently, we really have been looking for people who've been around the block once or twice, a little bit, especially games writing is a little bit unique.
It is
from other types of writing.
It's like no other medium in the world.
And having someone who's at least been through a little bit of that project has been good. So, we definitely start at the resume phase, but right from there, we look at that, and if we're interested at all, we have a writing test we send out from Gearbox.
Yep.
And the typical Gearbox writing test, it's probably a little bit long right now.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's interesting because I think there's some people that might maybe selecting themselves out of the process because it is a commitment to do the writing test. But I'm okay with that. I think that if you're going to end up as part of the team, you should really care and really be willing to go the extra mile. I mean, that's what we all did.
Well, and games writing, again, talking about those things that are really unique about what we do. You've got to turn things around really fast, and you've got to do a lot of writing, especially when we get in that cadence of mission development. I mean, an idea can spout up, in a morning, and by that afternoon, we will need a script and be recording, temp VO in the studio the next day. It really is good for development to be able to move at that. So having a test that lists those muscles is pretty good.
So we get these writers' tests in, and we review them, and we review them independently, and we also review them as a team. We talk about what we thought about them as a team, and it's really important, we think, to disambiguate the resume and the name and the experience that a candidate has from our evaluation of the writing sample.
Right.
So you found a way to obfuscate that.
One of the practices we did, even back, this goes back to like, when we were hiring for Battleborn writers like years ago, right after Borderlands 2. And we were getting a bunch of resumes in, and that was the problem because we're so connected in people in our studio.
Sometimes,
and so many of our submissions comes from people that we know or we like or we've worked with before and all of that. So, but we want to give them a fair shake. So what we do is we do a blind test, and we take the writing sample that's come in and we strip any identifying marks, the names or personal remarks, anything from the test themselves, and then we always assign them code names. So the last round when we did Battleborn, it was all superheroes. So I think we actually ended up hiring Spider-Man. If you want a little bit of trivia there. This time around,
that was Aaron.
That was
so Aaron Lindy
became
codenamed Spider-Man during the recruitment process, and we didn't know Spider-Man was Aaron, and Aaron didn't know he was Spider-Man. That's how it went.
That was great. But this time around, I think one of the things that you and I share deeply in common is our love for Star Wars.
Stupid, ridiculous, nerdy love
and
for Star Wars.
There was a movie that came out just a month or so ago, in our favorite Star Wars genre.
You think that if they were to make a Star Wars movie, they would have told people about it. Like I just came out of the blue. I had no idea. There was no marketing at all.
Right. But in celebration of that, when we started getting our samples back at the beginning of December, I was I want to use Star Wars names. So instead of superheroes, I use Star Wars names. But one of the things that we're really looking forward to do is kind of diversify our bench in writing. We want people from different backgrounds and different interests and all that. So we're very sensitive that we get, writers from everyone, and submissions from everyone. And we had some great female authors that were in this time, and some great guys and all across the board there. But you have to be really careful because, you don't want to use, just female names for females or male. I don't want to establish a pattern. So the first round of Star Wars names was all like obscure, like extended universe or non-movie female Star Wars names. So we got to read Ahsoka Tano and Asajj Ventress and Jyn Erso and I was gonna use Rey Skywalker for a while. It was before the movie came out, but considered that was a little presumptuous, so I backed off on that and went with another name.
So we did have a successful candidate from that round. Do you remember what alias was attached to that candidate?
Oh, he may have been Harrison Dula.
Okay.
From Rebels, one of the great Twilight characters from Rebels.
And incidentally, if anyone happens to be listening that is still in the running, we do want to grow our bench. Like we did find one successful candidate so far, but we're still going. So if you think you've got it. Now, one of the other things that we've talked about recently is the possibility that we might be ruling people out at the resume phase. That maybe we shouldn't. It's a great filter, but what would happen if we inverted it? What would happen if we had some writing samples that made it through first, and we took our favorite writing samples and then looked at resumes and then considered background, and we're considering that as a path. Now we haven't figured out how to do that yet, but that'll be an interesting thought.
We've talked about like a light pretest. I mean, I think for a lot of us, the thing that's really telling, so much of game writing is in like mission-based dialogue and that really good back and forth banner. I think when we've been most successful as Gearbox, whether it's been Brothers in Arms or Borderlands or Battleborn, you've seen, or even Duke Nukem now or Aliens, you've seen that great kind of multi-character back and forth with really cool dialogue. And so, we talked about a quick little test where like, write us a 3-page mission, that has good conversation with characters and all that. So if we'll formalize that up probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks here. And for those of you who are perspectives or who are interested, we'll post something on the Gearbox website and make it known to everyone. Probably tweet it out. I'm sure you'll help us get us a little launch on your Twitter post there to be sure that everybody knows about it. But that'll be really cool. It's so fun to read people's creativity. And all of that, and to get to know people and see what they are excited about and interested in, and it's really cool.
It is a lot of fun, and let's switch. Let's take a caller.
All right,
let's do that, and then we'll come back because I think there's some other things we can talk about. Some of the stuff we're working on right now, and some of our process. We're having a blast. So I'm sure it'll come up, but let's take a call. Let's see. I'm going to start with this person right here. Hi, this is Randy. Is this Rick?
Yeah, this is Rick.
Hi, Rick. You're on the air. You're on the air with Randy and Randy on the at Nerdvana Live podcast. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good.
Where you
trying not to freeze to death?
Oh,
trying to get over a head cold.
Where are you calling from?
This is Rick from Missouri, Athlon dude.
Oh, hey, good to hear from you again. Of course, I should have recognized your voice, man. Yeah. So what's the temperature like up there?
Oh my gosh, I don't know what the temperature is right now. I know it's sleeting and snowing outside right now.
Oh, well, stay warm. Stay warm. So what's on your mind this week, man? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I know y'all talking about Battleborn, and that's another one of my favorite games of yours. So
that's awesome. Well, Randy Varnell is the creative director on Battleborn. What do you want to? Do you have any particular angles you want to dig into there, or you just want to hear us riff on something?
Well, I was just kind of curious, what was the inspiration for the game? I mean, it's such a beautiful looking game. It has a really nice use of color and stuff,
Thanks.
But I was wondering what was the inspiration behind the game, because it is kind of different than most of the other conventional games. It's not exactly like Borderlands, where you can transverse back and forth between worlds. It's more of a straightforward.
I'm curious to hear. I was already starting to imagine how I'd answer that question, but I'm curious to hear Randy's answer to this.
Well, again, going back to, it's so great that we're here doing this because, in the times I've answered this, I don't think I've ever got to sit next to you and talk about this.
That's true. Yeah.
My very earliest memories on Battleborn are in a little conference room in our old building where, we were just finishing up Borderlands 2, and we worked a lot on that. We're really excited about it, really, really feeling about that. And we worked together on some other stuff, kind of been bannering about this idea for a while. And you came one day, I remember we went over to this conference room and sat down, and for about 10 or 15 minutes.
It was just you and I,
Yeah, right? It was just the two of us.
Yeah.
Got really excited about this idea. We were really excited about kind of the new competitive landscape in games, especially what we were seeing with, Dota and League and a few of those games like that. But we share that kind of common background. We love Borderlands. We're really feeling that. We really were getting into making characters. We'd done some other exploration games on the side where it had been really character-centric, and we're really excited about that.
That was one of the things that I think I was noticing. There's some things we're good at. And there's some things we're not so good at, but you want to play on your strengths. And one of the things we've gotten really good at is making characters.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. How do we play off of that? So that was part of our conversation. But go ahead.
A lot of the early challenge with the game really was around the characters. I mean, even before we had really brought the team on, one of the first things we did is we spun up a couple of our concept artists, and we said, "Go nuts! We're not really sure what we're building at the universe. We kind of want to do something that has a little bit more competitive bent to it, but we also want to tell a story but we want to go wild with characters. What can we do? And what was interesting, is when we were making Borderlands 2, we have a lot of cool characters in there, but when you're thinking in terms of player characters, we were doing some things in Borderlands 2 that we were a little bit constrained, right? They share the same rigging, they have the same skeleton, so they have to be roughly the same dimension, the same size. And we started asking in those early days of Battleborn, what if we remove the limitations, and explored our imagination and really got that going.
That was part of it. There was part of it too that was trying to be. Like I remember that first pitch to you, I was interested in like all time and space. Like how do you have basically a Jedi on the same team as the Master Chief, and like what universe can we create where we can make logic sense? And the other thing that you might not realize is you probably do, if not on a specific level, on an abstract level, you realize this. You see, Randy was working on a project that was a Brothers in Arms game that we evolved. Right. We kind of iterated out of. And the Brothers in Arms game, it was announced. It was called Furious 4. And I
remember something about that.
The creative process was sort of gameplay and game design led. And it was iterating to a place that was not really recognizable as an authentic Brothers in Arms game, but there was something really freaking awesome that happened as that was being developed, and it was this. Because we had also, this is in a post-Borderlands world where we're creating a Brothers in Arms game. So there's this idea of trying to get growth into the experience, but it wasn't fully committed to it in a full-on RPG sense that like Borderlands was. So one of the things that happened was you'd start a scenario, and in the middle of the scenario, you'd earn the, through some growth process, basically experience, you'd earn a new ability, you'd earn a new skill, and you'd earn new capability, and you'd stop at a place and make a choice about how to, like, which of these new capabilities do I want to activate.
Yeah.
And
you literally got on a radio and called into like the field base, and they dropped you some new tech on the field.
That's right. So you were trying to put it into some war context.
Right.
But from a design point of view, what it was begging for was in the course of a single like scenario or mission, like, you're talking about action that could be between 30 and 45 minutes. In the course of that, you'd actually earn new skills and new capabilities. And what's funny about that is one of the characters in Furious 4 was Montana, who survived this whole thing somehow, and he's a character in Battleborn.
He kind of got bigger though. I think he roided up for
when the art direction for Battleborn started to form up, like Montana got nuts. But the thing, like I remember, one of the choices was I could get a bear trap skill,
right?
And then I could throw a bear trap down, because he was Montana, the forester guy, and there were a couple others in there, and I thought there's some genius to that feeds like what we want as gamers, and so that was actually part of the pitch. But that was the inspiration for it. I mean, it really did come out of things we learned that could work from Furious 4, and it's about growth, not on this macro level, but in the moment-to-moment action. And how do you have growth in the moment-to-moment action? And Battleborn, from that came all these really clever inventions like the Helix system that was, I think, ultimately something Brian Thomas invented. That very, very quickly, in the middle of intense action, especially if you learn the progression, you can make a quick binary choice, A or B, and that will profoundly affect the capability of a character and work towards its growth. So that was a really neat, I think, core. But it did start from a design principle and a kind of a loose universe criteria that allowed for the variation in characters. So we didn't have a story yet. But we didn't have a style yet. No. But we had these influences that led to story and style.
I remember the really, really early ideas of that universe where, like you said, it was like literally dump your toy box out on a table and imagine, it's what we all dreamed of as like 11-year-olds, with our toy boxes. Like,
yes,
I've got, He-Man is about to fight G.I. Joe is about to fight Optimus Prime. And
totally.
And how does that work? How does it all go together? Yeah. So there's so much of the game that's just that childhood dream. I think, in fact, it was one of the early pitch meetings that we were bringing in that I brought in one of my old Star Wars collectible cases.
Darth Vader head,
case, and dropped it on the table. I'm like, this is what this game's about. It's about celebrating characters and celebrating kind of this odd, weird mix of characters in the universe that delight and surprise and excite us. A promise for everyone. We ended up going with a badass for every person. Every kind of badass. I think of the game, some of our marketing, but we loved it, and we got really diverse in there. You remember we had this whole point though where we got that, and we're like, the heroes fighting each other are interesting, but one of the things I've always loved about working with you in narrative is you always want to emphasize the heroic.
Yeah.
Because we as players want to share that we want to be the hero. We want to feel heroic. We want to do heroic things. And while you have a diverse of characters, because I think one of our very early Battleborn pitches was a little bit more Game of Thrones is in space.
Yeah.
No one's good. Everybody's kind of got their bad sides and all that.
You know where this comes from? Like, I think it comes from the mission. Right. Like, our mission is to entertain the world. And look, there's absolutely value, and I even consume stories sometimes that kind of make me sad. That sometimes there is some value to media that can help us understand and feel the worst things that we can experience in the human condition. But if I'm going to pay $60 and I'm going to spend a lot of my time, like, make me feel awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and make me, like, give me something aspirational. Like, there's too much in the world that beats the shit out of us. The whole universe is trying to kill us. Like, why don't we, like, so I think that's where that fundamentally comes from, is that push to, try to find something that's fundamentally positive and heroic. And it doesn't mean we always do that. Like, we've done some things that aren't necessarily happy endings, but and it is kind of fun to deal with the adversity. I mean, and what's interesting is when you take that aspirational tone and you blend it with this backstory, which is really about the death of all things in the entire universe, like the heat death of the universe. Okay. How can you get more? Yeah. How can you get more? Existentially. It's an existential black hole.
I remember the meeting where we were sitting around talking about the stakes. It was a very early Battleborn meeting, and you were there, and I were there, and then Scott Kester, who's the art director, is with us, and Aaron Lindy, the writer. Yeah. And Keith Schuler, who's done everything with missions and all that. And we were sitting around the table trying to think, okay, we want the stakes to be big in this game. How do we make that happen? Let's see. Do we save the planet? Well, it's been done before. Yeah. Do we save the solar system? Well, do we save the Federation? It's been done. Do we save all of the existing universe? Okay, we're on to something. And then it was the challenge was how do you make that interesting?
Yeah. And we did. I mean, I feel proud that we did come up with kind of a new science fiction construct that I had never seen before, which is
the last star.
There will be a point, when our star blows up. Or supernovas, and there'll be a point where every star is gone, and the whole universe will be in its maximum state of entropy. And that's really gnarly to think about. I think we should revisit it. I think I'd love. I mean, obviously, I love Battleborn. I think there's something with that premise. I think there's something with the characters, and I even think there's something with the game there. We'll probably get back to that at some point. I really want to.
I would absolutely love it.
And we're doing some things in that regard. Hey, Rick, if it's cool, thanks for your call. I think I've got a bunch of other callers here, and I think we should try to get to some of them. Is that cool, man?
Could I ask one last question real quick?
Hit me, and maybe we'll do this one a little faster because I am verbose, and Randy is too. You get the two of us together, and this is gonna be a 6-hour show. So let's see what we can do, man. Go for it.
When does Battleborn 2 come out?
Oh yeah, well, the rule is something can't come out until it's announced, and it can't. Nothing's been announced, so that's funny.
Okay,
but I'll tell you. I will say there is something that we're doing that's in that space that I like, and that I think will be cool, and I think people that like the space will appreciate. But I have to, forgive me, how I do. I have to dodge when we talk about forward-looking stuff and things that haven't been announced yet. So I appreciate the patience there. But I'm trying, my new center is I really want us as much as possible to not even promote a thing until we know absolutely what the thing is that we're promoting. And I know it's so fun sometimes to look and watch the art being created, to stand behind the artist as he's making the painting, to see the choices that are being made in real time. But the challenge, of course, is when everyone who's watching can also be a customer. We want them to make their choice on what the final product is, not what it might become. So I want to be very clear about this is what it is, not what somebody might wished it was or what it could be, but this is what it is. And if this looks interesting to you, go for it. And if it doesn't, that's cool. Like there's a lot of stuff in the world. So I'm really trying hard not to create expectations if I don't have to. And so forgive me. I love talking about development, but when it gets to specific things, we're gonna probably have to be shy on that. But I appreciate the question, Rick. I really do. Thanks, man.
No problem.
All right. Hey, I'll talk to you next time.
All right.
Bye. Cheers. All right. So should we just jump right into another one here?
Yeah, let's go.
This one's interesting. It might be. There's a lot of things here. Let's try it. Let's do this. Hey, this is Randy. Can you hear me?
Hi, Randy and Randy.
Hey, how's it going? Your
Awesome.
Your handle is Natsumi Ryu, right?
Hey.
Yes,
Yeah.
Natsu.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling, Natsu. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from PAC South down in San Antonio.
Oh, wow. You're at PAC South. How is it down there?
It's freezing cold.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow, some way, but it's been a lot of fun.
That's cool. Yeah, we went to the first one or two PAC Souths, but it's weird. The timing is such where it's really bad timing for us. So even though it's the closest PACs to where our headquarters are, it's the hardest one for us to get to.
Yeah, we usually come back from like our winter break fired up and ready to go.
Yeah.
I can't think of a year that we haven't come back and like immediately had something to jump in and nail.
That's right.
So.
And the performance and productivity value of that period is so important. So
big.
The interruption in at the beginning of January to go to PAC South is just too much, I think, for us to swallow anymore. Yeah. But so, hey, what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
Well, that actually answered one of my questions. I wanted to know why you guys haven't been to PAC South since then.
Ah, wow. I read your mind.
No, we've always had at least a small presence.
There's some people down there. In fact,
yeah.
one of the reasons why I get to have this show with Randy right now is because Elisa's down at PAC South. I think she did a panel earlier today. So there's a couple folks down there from Gearbox. I don't know if there's any official Gearbox thing, but there's some folks down there doing stuff.
I know, like Sam, our writer, is down there.
There's two folks that stopped me and Oscar Mike yesterday.
Yeah, awesome.
Said they were working at Gearbox, yeah.
That's cool. So what else is on your mind? Anything else you want to chat about?
Yeah, so one of my other questions was you guys used to do a community day.
Yeah.
And one of those community days was at, I think, PAC South. So I was wondering why, if there was any reason you guys had, discontinued doing that, if you just didn't have time, or what was up with that?
Yeah, I think time is probably the biggest thing. Yeah,
right.
and I know we had so much fun doing the community days. We did a couple up in Dallas. We did one at PAC South. We thought the last one we did was at PAC South, and we thought maybe if we do it at PAC South, where we're kind of piggybacking on all that infrastructure, it'll be easier for us to do, and it'll be and that'll make it okay for us to take the time to do it. But it was still so much effort, and the fact that it was remote kind of created different kind of challenges for it. So I think it's something that we need to start back up again, and I anticipate that we will. I'd love, one of the things I think we need to do it, and what I'd love to do is find a partner that can just manage the event, and we can bring ourselves and bring our stuff and support the event, but the event management part is so much effort, and every minute that someone from the development team is spending in event management is a minute they're not spending creating the entertainment that is really why we're all here for, and it's why we're all in this. It's why we're at Gearbox. It's what we're built to do. It's in our DNA to try to create this interactive entertainment for us and for people that seem to dig it, and it feels like that's a I'm actually causing harm by denying that attention to where it really belongs. Yeah. So, but I think there are folks that do that kind of work, and very recently, we actually started, and I don't even know. I don't think this has been announced. This might be a scoop. I don't know if any. We recently started an events team at Gearbox, and we've hired a couple of professionals who aren't game developers, whose sole purpose is to do events. And the first things that we're going to be doing are starting this year. We're going to, and these guys are part of the old CPL group, the Cyber Athlete Professional League. And we're going to host an esport event, and we're going to do just a gaming nerd party. We're going to use the old CPL tag for these kinds of events. That was the FRAG. And back then it was the foremost roundup of advanced gamers, I think was what the FRAG stood for.
That sounds like a backronym to me.
Yeah, it might be. Well, this one's the Frisco roundup of advanced gamers, because we're going to do it in Frisco, Texas, and we're going to see how it goes. And I expect like maybe 300 or 400 people to show up, and we'll all land our computers together and just be nerds and play video games all weekend. And it could be fun. And there'll be sponsors, and there'll be probably other things that we can put along with that. And if this goes well, then what it might mean is there's kind of like a mini community day, like every quarter, right near us, where we can come and do a talk and do live concept art and interact with folks that seem to dig our games, and other folks that are interested in interacting with us for whatever reason. So this is something I hope works out. We haven't announced anything specific there yet, but very, very soon that events team is going to get it going. But I do think there's something for like a big community day, or maybe it'll change shape. It might be more of a Gearbox convention kind of thing, and I think we want an outside events team to blow that up and make that all it deserves to be, with all the attention it deserves to be. And I hope that doesn't take too long. We haven't started that part of it yet, but we have started the events team stuff, so we'll see how that goes. How did I answer your question?
Yes, I totally am looking forward to that.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome, Natsu. Hey, well, I hope you're having a good time down at PAX South.
It's, aside from it being cold, it's been fantastic. Unfortunately, everybody else is freezing. Me in the costumes. When I'm inside, I'm sweating. When I'm outside, it feels great.
Are you doing your cosplay down there?
Yes, Caldarius was Friday, Oscar Mike was yesterday, and today I'm in the Crimson Landsman.
Oh, that's great. Take a picture. Send us a picture. Yeah. In fact, can you tweet a picture at us or something? Because we'll throw it up.
Yeah, no problem. I think you guys have already retweeted one of the Wrath and Caldarius ones from Friday.
Okay.
I'll
get a Crimson Lance picture.
One of the full body shots, and I'll send you guys some more.
Sweet. Yeah, send one today too. Like if you have, just take a selfie right now, and we'll throw it up on the stream.
I see him.
Wait, it's happening. It's already happening.
It'll be up in a second.
Yeah, he's gonna throw something
really
up. That's
cool.
awesome. Okay, thanks, Evan. Evan's awesome. He's part of the crew. So.
The Oscar Mike is great. Is that you in the Oscar Mike?
Yes, I am Oscar Mike.
That is awesome.
His debut was down here at PAX South.
Okay, well, Oscar Mike's about to go up on the stream for everybody to check out. Well, awesome, man. Well, thanks for calling, and thanks for representing down at PAX South, and I hope you're having a blast. We'll talk to you soon. Guys. We'll talk to you soon, Natsu. Yep. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wait, one more thing real quick.
Yeah.
Who would win, the Mikes or Stormtroopers?
Well, I've got to go.
Stormtroopers can't aim.
Right,
so.
right. I've got to go. I've got to go with the Mikes because Oscar Mike is very often one of the most effective, and Whiskey both are both very, very effective fighters. So, yeah, it's got to be the Mikes without a doubt. I mean, that might be.
Yeah, everyone's been pointing out we've got space lasers. They've already got theirs blown up multiple times.
Yeah, Mike's space lasers can shoot off inside because it actually, I think, it goes through like a portal and all that. So, Stormtroopers, it hits a planet or a ship or something. It blows up, it gets in the way. But Mike's that doesn't stop them.
Also, airstrike. Like I don't think any Stormtroopers can do that.
Yeah, no.
I'll take the Mikes versus. I'll take Whiskey and Mike versus a whole battalion of stormtroopers.
Oh, easy,
And
easy. Nades on nades.
We got this, but they have to be level 10.
yeah, with some good gear.
With some loot.
You better gear up.
All right. Cheers. Thanks for calling, Natsu. All right, bye.
Bye.
That was fun. Let's keep cooking here. Oh wow, I am fascinated. Let's try this.
Okay.
I have no idea how this is gonna go, but let's just talk to Chris. Chris, you're on the air. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm looking
mind
at.
if I ask a question?
I'm stoked for you to ask a question, but I'm looking at the note here and I'm trying to figure out like how do you even know any of this? So go ahead and like hit your question, and then I'm going to ask you like where did you come by the information that even led to the question? But go ahead, hit the question.
Okay. So my question being, I wanted to ask about generic characters that could possibly be in a AAA release coming in the fiscal year 2018. And more specifically, a character named Scooper.
How did you hear about Scooper, and what do you know about Scooper? That's my question to you before I answer.
Okay, I found a talk show where I think one of the people on your team were talking about it, and it was like I ended up learning about it there.
Okay.
And then someone joked, and you joked specifically about it being Scooter's like illegitimate child.
Oh, so I leaked something. Yeah. So Scooper, I'll tell you, Scooper's kind of like an inside Gearbox idea. I have no idea how this is going to manifest.
Yeah.
But like the legend is Scooter was a virgin.
At least he thought so.
And it turns out,
right.
What if he wasn't? What if he was so drunk and blacked out that he actually had some encounters? And what if those encounters actually produced offspring and he has no freaking idea? That was the the premise.
The universe of Pandora.
I personally think Scooter slayed it. Like all the girls love Scooter. I love Scooter.
Yeah, for some reason. Well, here's
Catch a ride.
The ratios aren't great on Pandora, first of all. So and he's not going.
Bandit's the female.
Yeah.
really way out there.
Yeah, but we'll see. There's actually a bit of there's a concept sketch of Scooper hanging on the wall inside the walls of Gearbox. Yeah. We've talked a lot about how this character will manifest, and I think there's some hope that we'll do something with this character. But it's not even until this character appears in something real. It's not even clear who the character is and what voice the character should have, and if the character is even part of the canon or not. But it's an idea, and I don't know if you know the history of, for example, Claptrap. Claptrap started out as this goofy little sketch that Lauren Wood was doing. And it wasn't even for anything. It was just something he was just drawing, doodling on, and I think Martel and a couple other folks kind of notice it, and there's something sticky to that. And so when Martel, I think, was the first one to latch onto the character, and then brought it to me, and that's there was some really difficult challenges back then to try to anthropomorphize a robot and try to create it in a way that's entertaining. And that's when I had the idea that the character should just be like the not only the most human of all the characters, but the worst human of all the characters. and through the work of Lauren and Brian and the other artists that picked it up and animated, and David, who gave the character a voice, and the scripts that we wrote, and a lot of Mikey's work, this character just sort of emerged and evolved and became one of the most recognizable characters in the Borderlands franchise. And it was an accident. There was no plan. There was no plan at all. And maybe Scooper will be one of those. We'll see. But I love the premise. I just love the idea that Scooter died thinking he was a virgin. And
there's a legacy.
And he wasn't.
Unexpected
and
legacy.
he wasn't, and he has no idea.
Yeah.
This is a funny thought. Right on, man. Hey, anything else you want to talk about, Chris?
Well, before I let you go, I just wanted to say I really love your work.
Wow.
Had a big impact on me growing up, and I have to say I got to thank you. Amazing.
Well,
amazing work, man.
Thank you, Chris. Let me tell you something. I'm just one dude. everything that comes out of Gearbox is the work of a lot of really awesome and talented people that I am grateful I get the chance to work with.
I'm going to kiss everyone in Gearbox, including you, right on the cheek.
I will do it. I will do it. I'm going to pass that along and that thrills us, frankly. I mean, you're why we fight. You're why we fight. So thank you so much for that. All right, I'll talk to you later, Chris. Thanks for your call.
It's funny you say. It's funny you bring up the why we fight thing, Randy. For those of you who don't know, one of the coolest things that happens around the studio is about once a week, every other week, Randy literally sends around an email, Why We Fight, that's like his favorite fan mail of the week. And it's one of the things that I've always loved in my time here because it's very, very encouraging. You know, sometimes it's really easy as a dev to get down in the weeds and to get fixated on a problem, and you can only see the problems, and then you read one or two, bad forum posts, and you're like, I'm terrible at this. Everything's awful. We're all going to die. And it's really, really refreshing, though, for you. It literally is an email. It's like, Why We Fight.
That's the subject, Why We Fight. And, what's interesting is for those I tend to, because I'll just forward fan mail of the day, but there's some of them pretty fun. But the Why We Fight ones, they're usually like, wow, like this person's representing to us that their life has been affected in a positive and significant way because of something that emerged from the work we do. And it's
gratifying.
It's really motivating. I mean, it is literally why we fight. It is not that we literally fight, but it is literally what drives us to do what we do. And it's, look, we're very fortunate. We get to sit in a climate controlled environment with a reasonably comfortable chair,
usually with a kick-ass computer, which really is good for all of us.
But at the same time, we do put a lot into our work, and we work long hours, and we crunch, and sometimes we have families that have to sacrifice because of the time commitment. And the developers at Gearbox do put so much into it, and I'm grateful that I get to work with such passionate people. And I think we're all kind of like that. We're all built that way, so we'd probably do it anyway because we're all a little crazy and just have to make stuff. We just can't not. But when you put your heart and soul and years of your life into a thing, and somebody finds some value in it, that is the greatest satisfaction of all.
Yeah, it's really unique. It was at Gearbox the first time. Gosh, I guess it was after we released Borderlands 2. I remember the first time I went to a convention and saw someone cosplaying a character that I'd had a very direct hand in, and naming and developing and all that. And like, I remember when it was just in my head, and when we sat at a table and someone sketched something on a board, and now it affected someone enough that they put their creativity in it. They put their time into it. And Natsu is a great example of all that. That's a unique and surreal.
It is,
feeling.
and it really does feel us. Because here's the thing, there's fortunately there's a lot of cool people in the world that do like to make stuff. Unfortunately, there aren't as many of them as there are people that consume. And even people that want to kick over the sandcastles that other people are making. There's a lot of that, and it's easy to get crushed when you make something sincerely. You can get hurt, man. And there's a lot of people. There's so much cool stuff out there that it's really easy just to dismiss work. And frankly, some of the work deserves to be dismissed. And we're all just people. Like I think. I feel fortunate that I've been able to work with some people that are crazy awesome, that have produced some incredible things that I just absolutely love. But any of us aren't always killing it and crushing it, and sometimes there's stuff out there that you just don't like, and other people might love it, but it just doesn't work for you. And that's why that validation occasionally is really, really important. If something did reach you and touch you, like, we just need one to feel like it was worth it.
Yeah, that's so true.
If you've done something to have helped like one person, or made one person's life better, you feel like you've actually accomplished something. And so every word helps, and I guess that's one of the other reasons why I'm doing this show, because we do put a lot into it. Let's take another one. Let's see here. This is Randy. Is this DJ?
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? You're on the air. You're with Randy and Randy on at Nerdvana Live. What's up?
Awesome. Not much. I'm just here playing from Hawaii.
You're in Hawaii. Are you guys alive?
Yeah.
Did the nuclear apocalypse take you? Did you get the alert on your phone?
Yeah, we survived the attack.
Did you get
Yes, I did. I woke up to that alert on my phone.
Holy!
Yesterday morning.
You are the first person from Hawaii I've talked to since that went down. Like, what was going on in your mind? Like, how did
everything? Just so many things run through your mind when something like this happens. And
how long was it?
Trying to get in touch with your family.
How long was it? How long were you dangling and hanging in that space before you understood that it was a mistake?
About 40 minutes. About 40 minutes or an hour before I found out it was, it wasn't real.
Oh my God.
And just panicking, and it was pretty crazy.
I'm like freaking out right now just thinking about this. So what did they what did they do? Did they send another message or like
they sent another message about 35 to 40 minutes after the initial message to the seek refuge and whatnot.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
If it was a real situation, that wouldn't have given enough time. Giving anybody enough time to do anything, because they say we only have 20 minutes between the time Korea launches their missile and for us to evacuate and do what we got to do.
That is so
that's
insane.
Literally no time at all.
So I grew up in the Cold War. I remember when we do drills where we'd like get under our desks as if that's going to do anything, And we thought I remember waking up every morning thinking, hey, I wonder if today's when Russia nukes us. And
it was a big deal. Yeah, you and I are the same age.
It was real.
We were probably the last generation where that was like serious, like training in like elementary schools and stuff like that.
It's real.
Here we go again.
He's like, dude, like North Korea can pop us, and now we're freaking out about it, and it's real. This is not. This is credible.
I saw a screenshot of that alert on someone's phone last night, and I'd heard about the news, but until I saw that's what it is. That's like here we get the Amber Alerts or whatever, a child missing or whatever, but that's like the serious missile strike imminent, seek cover, seek shelter.
Insane. Man, I'm sorry you had to go through that, and everyone in Hawaii. Man, that's.
I'm glad everyone's okay.
I'd rather it be BS than real, of course, obviously, but what a traumatic thing to have to experience. I hope you find a way to use the experience to get stronger.
Thanks, thank you.
So what do you want to talk about, man?
I was just wondering if there's any plans or talk about possibly re-releasing or remastering the first Borderlands for current consoles.
How do you think that would do? Do you think it would hold up, and would that be something you'd be interested in?
I think it would hold up. I mean, I've talked about it a lot on my streams when I stream on Twitch and with people and stuff. And I mean, from what I've gathered, and in my opinion, I think it would do pretty well. Either just a remaster or even just a re-release for current consoles. I've played it on PSN now, but streaming it and owning a physical copy of it or digital download of it is a little bit different. I'll tell you what, actually having
there is something about that game, and the franchise too. I remember when it was the first time, I think it was in the GameCube era, when Nintendo re-released, was it Ocarina of Time they did first? From N64? I think so. And I was so thrilled to just have a shot at kind of re-experiencing that, on a system that I actually had set up. and then they kind of kept at it, so they're kind of keeping the
spirit alive,
all the Legend of Zelda games accessible to us. I'll tell you, one of the things that I've been so proud of at Gearbox that's really helped us get to the point we are now has been our willingness to create new things and to kind of invent new things and not worry about the things we did in the past so much. But as we've now lived in the results of that success and we love some of the things that we've created in the past, I think we've got to figure out how to take care of that too. As a studio, we have to figure out how to simultaneously create new things while also maximally delivering on the promise of the things from the past. And
yeah, well, I mean, like Handsome Collection was a really great version of that. You know, we definitely did it with Borderlands 2 in the pre-sequel and brought it back together.
But that was only possible with help.
Yeah.
You know, like we you know, our friends down in Austin, our friends up in Chicago, as Armature and Iron Galaxy jumped in, and you know that took some significant time and resources to make sure that happened, and I think that's the only way that can happen right now, which is great, and I'm a believer of it in principle. I don't have anything. I can't answer your question specifically, but I'm a believer of it in principle, and I think it's fair to look forward to that, and I think. I don't know if this is the right word, but spiritually, you should put us on caring about that and wanting to deliver that. And I think it will be it's part of my plan to help Gearbox get in a position where we can just handle that line of thinking, right? Where we can simultaneously invent, even doing wild, weird, new, risky stuff, while also delivering within the franchises that already exist in ways that we think that our fans and customers want from us.
Yeah, and we
want to do both things and handle it.
And I'd say if it's something you really want, and you know other people who really want that, get out. You know, get on Twitter, get on the forums, and all that, and let us know.
Yeah, and let our publishing partners.
Yes, know. We listen to the fans all the time and look at that and go over that data all the time. And the more people that ask for that, there is a certain pitch, you know, that it gets to. They're like, okay, that's probably worth our time to do.
You know, and it's not just us too, though. The best way I think to create demand for that kind of content is through so if you want to do guerrilla push, right? If you want to be a part of that, either as an individual or if you want to encourage others that you might reach to do it, you do it through the first parties. That's Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, whichever platforms you'd like to see games on. Tell them you want that game on that platform. Don't tell us, tell them, and they will get it from us if the noise is loud enough. They'll do what it takes. And then also retail. GameStop, Amazon.com, Best Buy, Target,
Walmart,
any of those places, all the big retailers, if they get a query, they have ways of keeping track of that, and the sum of all that interest is how they calculate demand. Yep. So anyone listening that wants to create grassroots kind of pressure towards the things you'd like to see more of, do it with the first parties and do it with retail. That's where it's actually, because those guys, if first party thinks they need a thing on their platform because they think their customers are demanding it, and if retail want things, it will happen. I promise you it will happen, because that's what's driving. That's what drives.
It's such a great conversation, because you know we hear from fans a lot. You know, and I know a lot of people get really frustrated because they go right to the developer. I want this thing. I want you to do it now. I want it. But not a lot of people understand how the business world is wired for us.
We are we might be at the top of the value chain. We're creating the work.
Yeah.
But we are at the very bottom of the revenue stream. We are at the very bottom of the revenue stream. The revenue stream starts with customers, and then it goes to retailers and first parties, and eventually to publishers. And we're like the trickle down. We get the scraps at the bottom of the barrel. So and it. You know, as much as Randy says he likes working for me, I promise you he does not work for free.
Nope. We should probably talk about that later.
And you know, and the thing is, and we kill ourselves, and we do okay, but like honestly, a lot of game developers can do better in other industries, and they do it because they love it.
Yeah.
And it takes fuel to make this stuff happen, and the fuel comes from the suits with the dough. So we want the demand to start there. We're all just makers doing the best we can. Hey man, thanks for calling. It's awesome talking to you, and I'm glad you lived through the panic of
thank you.
of 2018 in Hawaii, and I hope it only stays threats, and we don't ever have to deal with this for real.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
All right, man. I'm gonna let you go, but thanks for calling. Cheers.
Hey, thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.
All right, let me check the time here. Okay, so it's already 5:30. Okay, so
did an hour.
I know.
30 minutes.
I've got a bunch of callers, and I feel like, and there's a call queue on Discord. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do this. Let's take this call, because this one's going to be really fast, because he's going to ask a question I can't answer.
Okay.
All right. And here we go. Hey, this is Christian, right?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Randy. You're on the air. How's it going?
Oh, how are you?
I'm great, man. You got a question for us?
Yeah. We're gonna see a trailer this year for the next big game we all want.
The next which game?
Yeah.
We all want. I think.
Oh, the next game we all want.
Yeah.
Well, we see a trailer this year for the next game we all. I can't even answer that. I can't so. I don't even. I think it'd be a mistake to acknowledge that something exists. I'll tell you what though.
No game.
Yeah, you know we're working hard on future things that we haven't announced yet, and when we work hard on things, it is our biggest desire to share them. We will share as soon as we can. As soon as we can. I cannot predict when that time is right now, and if I did, I probably wouldn't tell you anyway. I think we just do it. I think when it's time to announce a thing, we'll just announce it. Now, it could be because some of the things we work with partners, like Gearbox Publishing has development partners, and when we're in the publishing seat and we work with a development partner, we want them to feel like they're having the most say in the decision of how to announce and when to announce. Yeah. And sometimes people do it. They do a tease of an announce before they announce. And sometimes we also work as developers with publishing partners. And when we do that, we also tend to be deferent to their interests. So in both cases, we tend to let the other party kind of lead when the announcement happens and what the nature of it is. But we live for nothing but creating things that people can enjoy. So if we just create and never give it out, it's not rewarding for us. So we can't wait for that moment. But I can't answer that right now. Although I can say one thing, not about what I think you're asking about, but on other things. We have some published titles that we do have. Yeah. We have announced. There's a project that we're doing that's a virtual reality project with Penn and Teller that will absolutely come out this year, and there'll be a date announced soon. We Happy Few with Compulsion Games up in Canada. Those guys are killing it, and they're super committed to quality, so they're always going to decide their launch date, but I believe there's been a launch date announced for this year. Yeah. And I every time I look at that game, I get more and more excited about it because those guys have come so far and have pushed so far. And there's a few other things like that. There's a top secret project that we have that we've kind of codenamed Project 1v1. It will get a proper title and will get a wider. I don't know if it'll get a fully final release, but there'll be something that's a wider release that might be more public, that is akin to an alpha, a public alpha. That we'll do sometime this year, and it'll probably have a proper title when that happens. And there's some other things too that'll happen, but and there's so much more that we're working on. But I love that you want to know, and you're looking forward to stuff, and I really want to give you more, and I can't wait to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because the first time we've had that question, I think.
Hey, thanks for your call, Christian. Sorry I couldn't give you more than that, but I did the best I could.
Keep your eyes open.
All right. Cheers. Have a good one. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's take this question right here. This guy's not going. Okay, there we go. We'll take this one right here. Hi, this is Randy. Is this Michelle?
Yes.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for calling.
Hi.
You're on the air. You're with Randy and Randy on at Nerdvana Live.
That's a thing. I think it's your new tagline.
Randy and Randy at Nerdvana Live. Where are you calling from?
I am calling from upstate New York.
Ooh, is it freezing up there or what?
Yeah.
Well, stay warm. Stay warm. So what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
Well, first of all, I kind of want to say just a thank you for making Battleborn, because it's meant a lot to me, and I've met a lot of great people, and it's actually what brought me closer to my now significant other partner. That's how we started dating. So
What?
Oh, that's great.
Oh, I just made us deaf by screaming. Like, that is like the coolest thing. That is a Why We Fight story.
Yeah, that's
oh my
that's
God.
awesome.
That's incredible. That's so awesome. Holy crap.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. I can speak for. There were a lot there. Everybody at Gearbox and put a lot of passion, a lot of years into that game, and like we talked about earlier, we just want to delight you guys, and it's so cool to hear that it was such a significant part of your life. So thank you for that story. That's awesome.
The thing I love about that too is it like reaffirms the commitment that we've made as a studio to having cooperative games, and being able to play couch co-op or whether you're playing split screen or everybody has their own screens, and kind of caring about the fact that games can be social. Like you can actually interact with other people while you're playing. And my wife and I play all the time. Like that's our lives. We play games all the time, and that's part of why we do this. And oh man, I'm so excited to hear that. That was so cool. But since you got us now, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah. So my first kind of general question for both of you guys would be. If you were in the Battleborn universe, what faction would you be part of, and why?
I'd be a peacekeeper.
Okay, and why?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they're kind of a mess, but I think they are most. I think they care about righteousness, and they have a sense of justice that I think is important. I don't know. I think I identify. I mean, I wouldn't be generate.
I don't know. They're definitely aggressive. It's hard for me to. They're all my babies, right? So you're asking me to pick between my children there, but the generate are not. They're not what? Yeah, they're not the. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not necessarily the honorable, noble faction among them, but they've got a good sense of style, and
so
they're
thing,
very aggressive.
Why are they fighting?
Why are they fighting? They're to save their people. I mean,
to save their people.
To save their people.
What now? Why are the LLC fighting?
The LLC. Why are they fighting? LLC
to get rich.
To get rich. War profit. Right.
Right.
The peacekeepers.
Why are the Eldred fighting?
The Eldred want to stabilize the universe or understand the universe.
And
they actually
natural
observe
order,
it, right,
and
maintain that goes on the way to.
But also they want to kind of reduce. I think things that disrupt the natural order, like just let they care about.
Oh yeah. No. They're very much big on like observing and preserving. In fact, they go to war against people, especially the generate, who mess things up.
And can we agree that rogues, like they're not really a faction per se? Any individual is really just in it for themselves.
In themselves,
like as a faction.
But there's also, every faction has that little tinge of something that's noble in them, and even the rogues, while they're more selfish.
But it's not the faction that has the tinge of something noble; it's the individuals within the faction.
But there is a.
And this is why I'm going to defend the peacekeepers, because they have values that are kind of transcendent values. Now they're not perfectly aligned with mine, but they do care about justice and they do care about righteousness. And they care about peace. They care about, and these are transcendent values that are for all species, not necessarily just for theirs. And the Eldred can be argued to have the same kind of. They have a transcendent value as well, but I am fundamentally a meliorist. Like I think that if the future is going to be better, it's because people are going to make it better.
Yeah.
The world's not going to make it better itself.
See, so I'll defend my rogues.
Okay,
I'm going to go with the rogues here for a second because I mean you've got bandits and space pirates in there, and they're not all good people.
Okay,
but the heart of it's freedom. It's still the people thing. It's still people first. It's still beings first, not just people.
Yeah.
And they like to cut out the bureaucrow. Sometimes they do so in a very aggressive way.
And, like if in real life I don't really I'm totally apolitical. Thinking about politics makes me ill.
Me too.
But I do when I'm confronted with it, I do find myself kind of leaning towards like more of a libertarian kind of view, where I just like, hey, can we get less rules, please?
Yeah.
But that said, there are times when we kind of do it wrong that way, and we need, like I was thinking about the net neutrality thing, and it's kind of like better if, and I don't want to get political, But sometimes it's better if there is some order and there's stuff that we need to organize to do.
Yeah, yeah.
There's stuff we cannot accomplish as individuals and we need to accomplish as a team.
Yeah.
And we have to agree on the value behind that. And the rogues don't have that as much.
But you could argue that especially when we were designing the story for the rogues, one of the important things we tried to do with every faction, we were talking about this a little while ago, is put some kind of aspirational value in each faction. The LLC, sure, they're war profiteers, but they love technology. They're the Apple of their universe, and they are the high end innovators of what's going on. The Eldred, there's essentially a good nature to them, and while they're observers, they are not slow to protect and defend. Often when it suits their interest, but they're good. They team up with other people. They want to heal. They want to grow. They want living things to have a chance. In the rogues, you've got Reyna in there, and it was one of the things that I loved about Reyna as a character because you study her backstory, look at her. She saw that exactly kind of the things you would be frustrated about with the rogues is like they were all going off different directions. They came from different things. There was a lot of animosity and antagonism with them. But she said, there is a thread of strength. At times, it's really important for us all to come together and do something significant. And in fact, she was the conduit bringing the rogues into the Battleborn. She and Galt kind of had this cop and robber type of relationship all through their life. But when things got serious and Galt says, it's time to fight together or die alone, he goes through Reyna. And Reyna has that pull, still has that freedom and value kind of Guardians of the Galaxy kind of shoot from the hip mentality, but they do it.
So you are a rogue.
I
that's what I'm hearing.
I don't know. I think if I've tried not to dupe the same faction because I think if I have to answer honestly, I'd probably be very close to what you're saying with the Peacekeepers.
That's fair. That's fair. But I'll tell you this though. I will say this. I would not want to be a peacekeeper in a universe where the other factions did not exist. I think each of I think they're necessary. Like we said, how could you be an effective peacekeeper if the LLC weren't making all that stuff you need to do your job?
It'd be very hard. And in fact, in the backstory, it was that was what they were together. The LLC was within the Peacekeepers originally, and it was that bureaucracy. It was that negative aspect of way too much, red tape and all of that broke them out, and then also just unhealthy desire for profit.
It's almost as if the Battleborn universe is like a kind of microcosm of our actual world. Huh. That's interesting. Hey, that was an awesome question, Michelle. Anything else you want to talk about?
Okay, so I have one question for me and then one I'm kind of forwarding from my friend.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so my first question is, would any of the Battleborn have pets besides Oscar Mike's totally real cats and Cleese's ferret that he has to clean Nova's ducks?
The Blargavian nose ferret, I think is what it was called. I was up really late one night and was filling in some lore, and it got a little sketchy. I gotta admit. I mean, you especially. I mean. I'll give you the serious answer here, and I lore nerd out over this, and Randy will roll his eyes at me a little bit, but in a universe where so much is dying and passing away, I think wanting every Battleborn especially has that sense in their heart of wanting to preserve something, of wanting to keep and sustain something with them. So, I think if you wanted to get the honest answer to that, absolutely. Now, if I think you wanted to do the real fun, let's play with lore, let's play with character answer of it. Yeah, they would, and everyone would have something that really suits their personality. Like Arendi would totally have some kind of weird ass chameleon thing that changes shape with her and all of that.
Arendi collects spores, molds, and fungus.
And
this pisses off Miko.
Yeah, that would happen. Elder Gome probably, in fact, he probably has a collection of like little, microscopic sentient AI robots. You look at his factory. He grew up in a robot factory, so he probably has a collection. He would never admit it. He's a little bit too macho to admit that he collects or loves anything. But I'm sure if you were to open up his quarters, on the back of the ship, you'd find some stuff back there. But oh yeah, there are definitely some pets back in there.
What's Toby's pet?
Well, oh wow, that's interesting.
It's a human.
Benedict,
It's
probably.
It would good.
It would be Benedict. I mean, he would. Toby is very, very repressed in their home world. He has this inferiority complex.
Yeah,
so he would definitely see Benedict in that class of
so
bird.
Great.
As,
I love that idea. I think we need to make like a short animated series that plays this out. I love it.
One of my favorite pieces of fan art that ever happened right after we released was someone did that our Get Along shirt, and it was Toby and Benedict stuffed into this 2-person shirt with the.
What? I haven't seen that.
It was so good.
I gotta send me a link to that. Yeah. I gotta see. That's awesome. Right on. So hey, Michelle, anything else you want to chat about?
Okay, so
here's the other one.
Just my one more question.
Okay.
Yeah, this is from my friend Letty Bum. You may know them from their art.
Yeah.
They made some. I think. Yeah, they made a big poster they drew for Heart of Ekinar, movie type poster.
Yes,
cool. Really cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So they would like to ask, at what age did Lenore sustain herself?
Huh.
I think in my head it was, so she was a very established scientist at the time she did it, but I think we did mention somewhere way back in the dregs of the lore, man, I'd have to dig it up, that she was reasonably young and always appeared young as an empress, and that was kind of it was always that idea of kind of the queen of the damned, the vampire queen who'd become immortal and eternal in there, and kind of saw the empire kind of as her children. So, late 20s to mid 30s, it would probably be her apparent age. Gosh, I've probably got it written down in a document somewhere that I could look up, but
that's crazy.
But that's probably close enough for canon. Early 30s would probably be about right, because again, she was she was the one who helped drive that science, of finding sustainment and finding out actually how to put her matter in suspended animation. Essentially, it frees the process of her matter, internal matter, changing and morphing. So there you go.
That is awesome. That is what Nerdvana is all about, is getting really into Lord Nerd stuff. I love it. And you have the exact right person to get into a question like that, because in fact, that's one of the things I think I liked most about Battleborn, is how deep you got to committing to the development of the lore and how much you worked on that yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you implemented so much of that in the lore metagame.
I wrote about 100,000 words that are tucked down into the game when you're doing all the character lore stuff.
And that's profound. That not many creative directors get that dirty.
There were a lot of really late nights there for a couple of months, when we saw what we could do there.
There's a lot of good stuff there, dude.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
Well, you gave me, you really kicked it off. We were talking about it at one point. We were talking about doing it, and we'd really gotten excited about the idea of those lore challenges and really exploring that. And you gave me it was that J.J. Abrams book. It's called, is it S?
Yeah, it's the, I can't remember the
it
full
has
name of it. He really produced the book. There's another author, but it's the ship and the something, but
but it's almost like dragonology for adults, right? It's one of those, and it's this really interesting book. You should look up.
Here, let me find it.
You'll find out what it is, but it's looks like a novel, and it's this really beautiful bound case, and you pull it open, and it looks like classic Reader's Digest bound book, or really just sit on the bookshelf, you'd never recognize it, and you open it up, and just like all those kind of classic old Egyptology or dragonology, those books, little bits and stuff fall out, postcards and little scraps of paper and all of that, and the whole book is the book is a story in itself, the core story, but it has this back and forth dialogue between several people who were reading the book and sharing it amongst themselves. So there's like a meta story baked over the current core story of the book, and then you get all these little snippets, all these little, again, photos and postcards. And
so the product is called S.
Yeah.
And the novel is The Ship of Theseus.
Yeah.
And The Ship of Theseus is by a fictional author, and inside this product are all these handwritten notes and all these margin kind of scribbles, and it's really a dialogue between two college students that are trading this book back and forth.
Yeah.
And they're writing into the book itself and sharing notes and newspaper clippings, and all of this is contained in the book, in the pages of the book, and it's really fun.
And there's this kind of burgeoning romance, and then a mystery that gets in there, and you have to read the book really differently to get the whole story.
It's really almost a piece of performance art without the performance. And so there's the book, but then what's more important is this context of these characters that are consuming the book, and you're seeing the book through them.
And in fact,
such a great
that was
piece.
And that was so motivational. It's one of the reasons one of the things that kicked me into spending probably ungodly hours, up late at night writing all the lore, because I love that. I love those. I'm one of those people.
If I get a chance to see JJ again, I'll tell him that inspired you.
I dig that mystery. I mean, that's one of the things he's really good at, setting up that question and making us think and explore, and just the sense of wonder. And so there's a lot of little secrets just tucked back in there, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm glad you appreciate it, though. That's
cool. Hey, thanks for calling, Michelle. Anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
I think that's it.
Awesome.
I'll let you get to other people.
Hey, no worries. Thanks
Michelle.
for calling, and feel free to call back some other time. Cheers. Have a good rest of your weekend.
You too. Thanks.
Right on. Hey, guess who's going to be on the line right now?
Uh-oh. Who do we have?
Hey, this is Randy. Is this Jim?
No, it's Mike. I don't know who Jim is, but I have a question about the Randy series of clone. So your uniform's obviously blue shirts and jeans, and I was wondering how come the Mike series didn't get that? Because the uniform, the armor chafes and it gets a little uncomfortable.
Before I let him ask your question, who gave Oscar Mike our phone number?
Well, probably Nova, if you really want to go to it. She's got a little mischievous streak, but
wow,
that's awesome.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I saw that you were both on, and I couldn't. Mike had to call in and find out what the Randy series of clone is all about.
I love it. Well, we're not quite clones, but yeah.
Yeah, no, he definitely got the grade A DNA. He's a little sparklier, a little shinier. His socks got a little bit more color to them.
Did you know Patricia made the shirt for me?
No way.
Yes. Yeah. Well, she modified the shirt.
That is a nice shirt.
It didn't have all this bling on it.
Yeah.
So, Jim is the voice actor of Oscar Mike and other
many
characters.
Others. Yeah. Of course, Whiskey Foxtrot and Isaac and Minrek and
thanks for calling, Jim.
Miscellaneous Man 2 or something like that.
So what are you up to these days?
Yeah, we're all here.
Me too. What are you up to these days, man? Life treating you well?
What's that?
We lost you. Life treating you well?
Oh yeah, life is treating me well. I just want to pop in and say hi, you guys. I know there's some people in the feed that have some questions that need to get to.
Well, you're great, man.
I just wanted to say hi.
Hey, thanks so much for calling, man. It's always great to hear from you.
Yeah, it's great, Jim. I really miss it. Some of our favorite times in the booth was the Mike stuff with you.
Mine too. There needs to be a Fury potato on the menu at Nerdvana. A really spicy baked potato.
Oh, yeah. Challenge.
Ooh, this is a really good point.
Fury potato.
Fury potato. I think
that's such a great. Yeah.
I think this has to happen. Yeah, actually, yes. We're gonna work on this tonight when we're eating down there after the show. This is a great idea. That is a great idea. Wow, you're still giving us stuff. This is so good.
Do you have any favorite potato toppings that you think should garnish the Fury potato?
Oh gosh, anything. Well, here's the thing. If it's too furious, I know that I probably wouldn't be able to handle it myself. But I mean, there's a whole world of peppers that could probably make that thing explode. So.
Wow, that's awesome.
So maybe you want the irritated potato, and then we save the Fury potato for the real connoisseur.
Yeah, I'd like the mildly pleasant potato.
The friendly potato. Okay. I got it.
That is great. That is outstanding. Hey, thanks for calling, man. Good to hear from you, Jim.
Yeah.
Right on.
Cheers, guys.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye, man.
That was awesome. Jim just called in. That's cool, man.
He's so he was so much fun to work with. I remember when we got the VO audition for Isaac in, and we we do VO auditions for these characters, and we get 30, 40, 50 auditions sometimes. And when we got in Isaac, I think we had 30 or 40 different auditions just from Jim on Isaac. He really dug the character and got into him, and we have 5 or 6 voices. And the hardest thing in listening to his auditions for that was not that he was going to get the part or not. That Aaron and I, when we were looking at that, like right off, like Jim's Isaac. It was figuring out which one of his voices we wanted to go with. Really, really, really super talented guy, and I can't wait for an opportunity to work with him again.
Yeah, I think we should be. I mean, when there's talent that's versatile like that, and we already do this, but we might want to keep, like, maybe even put faces or names up on in the war room, so that we're constantly thinking, because there's characters we need to cast that, and as we're developing the characters, when we're in the writer's room there, that we can kind of know some of our favorite people to work with. And
I think I have a task next week.
Yeah, there might be something to that.
Well, we're thinking about that.
Yeah,
we're thinking about that. We're always looking at who we can cast and who we can use and all that.
Yeah, and we're on the brink of that step for something we're doing where we're gonna be casting some new voices, and I mean, you can feel it, right, when we do some of the table reads for some of the scripts we're working on right now. Like, on this one, I'd love to get the entire script temp with us so that we have it all and it's all timed out, especially given some of the pros that we've got.
Oh, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. It's so anyway. Off
track.
We're gonna get
next
in trouble.
caller.
Okay, so there's a couple people on Discord. I've kind of been. Should I grab them? Let's try this. Hey, call screeners. I don't know if you're listening to me, but I don't know how to check your notes on the Discord callers. I don't know. Oh, okay. I expand this. Sorry. Thanks, guys. Just technical thing. Right? Oh. Sweet. Okay. All right, let's take this one. And where do I drag them? I drag them. Oh, I see the problem. I got to shrink that because I can't do both at the same time. Thanks for sticking around. Hey, is this Kitru? Kitru, this is Randy. If you can hear me, you are on the air, and if you can't, you're not.
I see it lighting up, but we're not getting his. We're not getting his vocal.
Not hearing him.
Oh no!
Oh, nothing. Okay, let's try a different one. I'm gonna put you back in the queue just in case, and we're gonna try. Let's try something else.
Was there a little mute? Is there a mute symbol next to their name or something?
I don't know. Let's see. I'm looking at all these here. Did we have some? Oh no, I'm getting. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. This is where I'm not perfect about this. Let's try this one. Hey, this is Randy. Is this Gianni? Huh? Nothing from Discord. Guys, I think we're having some technical issues with getting Discord to work. Am I doing this right, Joe? If you see Joe come in frame, he's just helping us out here. Vamp on something, Randy, while we look at this.
Vamp on something.
Okay,
so,
you know what?
Okay.
I am failing this miserably, and I feel so bad. There's several people in the queue on Discord. Frankly, we're almost out of time anyway. So and I hate to just rush people. So maybe if you guys are willing, try back next week. And I think what we should do is you and I just kind of wrap up the show. And
sure,
what have we learned? I don't know. Are you glad you came on the show?
Oh yeah, this has been great. I always love talking to it, and certainly love talking about it.
You want to come back?
Oh yeah, anytime, dude.
Do you want to host sometime?
I would love to.
One of the things I want to do is get different hosts in and out. Keep it kind of moving. I think this can be sort of the thing any of us can use. It's as long as we're willing to talk about nerd stuff.
Especially as we get into, you talked about earlier, I'm doing a lot of work with story and narrative and all of that, and have always been interested in that. I think there's 3 or 4 of us at the studio who are like obsessive readers of fantasy and sci-fi and all of that. So, man, I would love the opportunity just to come and talk about everybody's favorite stories one week. And talk about what we like, because we consume a lot. We look at a lot, and we're inspired by a lot. We talked about Abrams stuff today. We talked about The Last Jedi, which
something I wanted to ask you about. Did you read the Dark Tower series?
I have read parts of it. I started it 3 times, and I actually watched.
Did you see the movie?
I did. Okay. I watched it on the plane over the.
Because there was some Dark Tower influences in Borderlands.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was curious what you thought of all that, but maybe we should take that offline or save it for another show.
Save it for another show. I need to catch up with a little bit more of the actual book reading before I feel good to talk about that. But that's cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. Anyway, hey everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. This has been another episode of At Nerdvana Live. I think we have a website now, right? And if you go to the website, you can check out back episodes. You can watch us, hang out, chat with us live. We'll be back next week. That will be Sunday, the 21st. And I'm looking forward to spending some more time with you. And if you want to, you can tweet me at Duval Magic. I think, is that up there? Yeah, at Duval Magic. And you can tweet Randy at Jai3. And you should come back. We haven't made a plan yet for who's back next week, but I'll consult with Elisa on that because she helps out all this, and maybe, but if not next week, definitely very, very soon. And I think you should be in this seat.
Okay.
And that way you can be the person that
they can't figure
out. Guys, thanks for sticking with us.
Yes, it's been great.
We'll see you next time on At Nerdvana Live.
Bye, everyone.